I would like to go to my man. I see him here. The one, the only, Ted Rall, political cartoonist, syndicated columnist, host of TMI, Too Much Information, the great, beautiful, awesome, the magnificent, legend. And also with his show with John Kiriakou. What is the name of the show with John Kiriakou?
Deprogram.
Deprogram.
We've got a big show today, by the way. 12:30.
What time does What time does it start?
12:30 p.m. today. We're interviewing Jake Tapper.
Wait, what's the name of the person? You're a little. The volume is low.
Sorry, we're interviewing Jake Tapper.
Did you say Jake Tapper?
Uh-huh.
Congratulations. That's a good interview.
I'm looking forward to it.
Are you going to bring up the fact that he scolded the reporter who asked about Joe Biden's mental health and then wrote a book about Joe Biden's mental health?
That will definitely come up.
How you doing, man? You doing okay?
I'm okay. There's been the heat wave here in New York City just broke, and I don't do well with the heat, so I'm a much happier camper now.
Oh, fair enough. Michael Kimberly said that too, that you guys were having a heat wave.
Oof.
I want to get your take on something. Donald Trump. Okay, for one, let's start here, and then I'll go to Trump. How do I pronounce his name? Sohan Mandani. All right. So this is the new candidate that is creating a huge amount of fervor in New York City, running for mayor. Mandani's wife's husband. Mandani's wife's husband. I say that way because she's gorgeous. He's like an afterthought to me.
She's so cute. Yeah.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. But anyway, Mandani won the primary, beat the stuffing out of what is his name? Cuomo, the one who killed all those grandmas.
Yep.
And who got taken out because he couldn't keep his hands off of women and couldn't stop making comments. It is amazing to me that he was even in the running, in contention, but it's New York, whatever he was. Give me your take on Mandani. He is getting a lot of publicity. And I guess my question is why? Is it because he calls himself a democratic socialist? Is it because he's a lefty in the traditional democratic left sense of the word, and they didn't think somebody like that could win? What's going on with him in New York? Why is he such a thing?
Well, it's all of the above. I mean, I want to remind people that in New York City, 65% of registered voters are Democrats, 11% are Republicans. So whoever wins the Democratic primary for anything tends to be a shoo-in in the general election. And so Mamdani is going to have a little bit of a higher climb than most because the establishment is arrayed against him. But he's still the odds-on favorite. It's everything that you said. It's also the fact that he's South Asian, that he's Muslim, that he didn't back away from his support for the Palestinians and his criticism of Israel. He refused to say in the mayoral debate that he would travel to Israel, as many former New York mayors have done as one of their very first overseas.
Wait, Ted, I'm sorry to interrupt you. They're saying that your volume is a little bit low. Could you turn it up just a little bit for me?
Okay, let me see if I can. I'll do this. I think my fan is.
Ted's in his underwear.
Nah. These are shorts. They're blue shorts. I'm not like Jeffrey Toobin.
I know, right? I know.
But let's.
God, man, could you imagine coming back to work after that?
Well, I can't imagine that I would be allowed back to work, to be honest.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, there's that too.
Okay, is that any better?
Say it one more time for me.
How's the sound? Is that better?
Much better. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So I think that so it's the fact that he's Muslim. He doesn't want to go to. He refused to go to Israel. He said that he's not going to kiss the ring. He's not going to back away from calling to globalize the Intifada. He's not back. He explained rather than backed away from his 2020 call to defund the police. So he ran a very sort of straightforward, this is who I am, you like it or you don't campaign. But I want to be clear. I mean, this was an anti-establishment vote. What's going on here in New York City is highly analogous to what happens nationally with the Trump takeover of the GOP. A lot of people voted for Donald Trump because the establishment didn't like him and didn't want him to be president. And a lot of people, me included, voted for Mamdani because the establishment hates him and is afraid of him. I mean, the New York Times 4 years ago issued a statement that they were never going to make any endorsement in a local race again. So 4 years later, they issued an anti-endorsement. Now, there's 12 people running for mayor, including Loverboy, a Paperboy Love Prince. Okay, the New York Times said you can vote for anyone you want: Cuomo, Paperboy Love Prince, anyone. Brad Lander. Do not vote for Mamdani because he will destroy the city. I was like, I wasn't sure about Mamdani up until that point. 33 years old, only 4 years in the state assembly, not that experienced. Like me, went to an unaccredited educational institution. We both went to Columbia. Trump got rid of the accreditation. But the point is, I wasn't sure about this guy. And then it was like, holy shit. They're scared to death of him. The New York Times editorial page, what do they represent? The real estate interests, the big corporations, Wall Street. I mean, that's who they've always represented. They care about the landlord class. They don't care about you and me. And I was like, oh, and they're saying,
my God.
Freezing the rent is a radical move. Okay, Jamal, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment on the Upper West Side. My rent's $4,900 a month. It's going up
Ted,
to $5,100
I gotta be honest, man.
a
Every
month.
time you said that, it blows me away. I cannot.
And it's going up to $5,100, right? If they objectively, if they dropped my rent by half, it would still be too expensive for this apartment. It's just ridiculous. This should be like a, I don't know, $1,500 apartment maybe. And so and meanwhile, all around me, I've got my next door neighbor's apartment been empty for 3 years. Why is my rent going up when the building's half empty? Why is my rent going up when all the stores in the neighborhood are closed? Why is my rent going up when there's a homeless person sleeping on every subway car? The city's falling apart, and the good thing about the city falling apart should be lower rent. So the fix is in. Everybody's pissed off. They feel beleaguered. So Mamdani was, in the same way that he learned from Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders always just repeated the same 3 issues, right? And that's what Mamdani did. He just plugged away at the rent is too damn high, prices are too high, transportation is too expensive. That's it. Focused just on pocketbook issues. Yeah. And, it really, really made an impact. It was very simple. Andrew Cuomo, I mean, he used to be smarter than this. Well, at least his father was. But, Andrew Cuomo should have known better. 67 years old, he's probably slowing down a little bit. That scares me since I turned 62 this summer. But he's slowing down a little bit. And, he just didn't get the mood of the people. He didn't have his ear to the ground. He collected these mainstream endorsements. I remember thinking Cuomo was in real trouble when he collected an endorsement from James Clyburn. I'm like, James Clyburn is infamous among progressives as the guy who gave us Joe Biden. And I'm like, if James, it's like, and why is he endorsing a New York City mayoral candidate? He's a congressman from South Carolina, right? Why
they think the black vote translates? And I'm sorry to interrupt.
And it did.
But Cuomo can't change his stripes on us. I mean, he is what he is. It's like, can Hillary Clinton really run as a progressive? Not really. Is anybody going to accept that?
Donald, first of all, Hillary could have decided to run as a progressive, but that's not who she is, right? And that's not
exactly
who supports her. But I think with Cuomo, it wasn't as heavy of a lift. You'll remember on our old shows, we talked, and I said like a year and a half ago, it's going to be Cuomo as the odds-on favorite for mayor of New York. And everyone was like, what? Because he was so disgraced. He had just resigned. And it's like, so the brief for the Cuomo candidacy made sense a year and a half ago because the city was spiraling down the toilet. And there was a sense like, we need a dick to come in here and knock some heads together and restore order. Oh, where could we find an asshole? Oh, I know, Andrew Cuomo. He's an asshole. And so like a lot of New Yorkers thought, like, he could come in here, he could tell the cops, cut the shit, get back on the street and do your jobs. He could tell the traffic police, cut the shit, go out and like clean up the gridlock. He could do all that. But okay, and that was the brief for him. The problem is that in that year and a half, things have changed a little bit. First of all, the city's not in any better condition, but everyone's used to it. And so, they're kind of like not as shocked anymore about that. So it's like now there's a sort of sense like, maybe we'll never see cops ever again. And okay, that's just how it is. New Yorkers are adaptable. And so, and I think the other problem was New Yorkers really want to see you earn the job. We're hardworking people because we have to pay $5,000 a month rent. So we have to work hard. So the point is, we see this guy, he wants to be our mayor. He thinks he's doing us a favor because it's like, I was the governor. My father was the governor. My dad has a bridge named after him. Yeah. It's like, okay, that's great. But like, no, you don't understand. This is New York fucking City. You want to be the mayor of New York fucking City and be immortal, then you are. Who remembers that James Patterson was governor of New York? No one. But who remembers Ed Koch? Everyone. So it's like, you want to be the mayor of New York fucking City, come here and come correct. Show respect, knock on doors, earn it. He didn't do that. He collected endorsements. He got $25 million from Bloomberg, and it didn't, and there were a lot of racist ads that filled up our mailboxes. Yes. Not including, there's the one time that, Mamdani wore a shalwar kameez somewhere, and that picture is all over the place. They darkened they did what they did to OJ on Time Magazine. They darkened his skin on the mailers that Bloomberg sent out against Mamdani.
Didn't they give him a beard or something? They made him like a heavier beard?
Well, he does have a beard, but it's a very trimmed, like sort of Hamid Karzai beard. And they're trying to make him look sinister and Islamic. Like, that's not flying. Okay, it's like 9/11 is in the rearview mirror. It's been 24 years. Islamophobia is not going to fly anymore. It's like, in this city, you're going to try racist shit? Like, not with these voters.
Melted pot.
Not gonna work. I mean, everybody's like friends with everybody. It's just like I'm not saying there's no racial tensions. Yeah. But it's not. I mean, seriously, it was just like they were running a campaign out of 2003, and Mandani was running a contemporary campaign, and it wasn't just social media. He knocked on 1 million doors, or at least he tried to.
He was on the streets.
He was in the streets, and it was so. And also, I got to tell you. Maybe the secret weapon was his alliance of convenience with Brad Lander. So Brad Lander's the outgoing comptroller. He was running for mayor, but it was pretty clear he wasn't going to win. So they cross endorsed in ranked choice balloting, and they said like, okay, so please vote for me, vote for my friend here second, and they each said that about each other. But they campaigned together. They campaigned together. They rode around on rented city bikes. I mean. Sorry, Andrew Cuomo, you can't compete with that. I mean, I could because I ride a city bike, but he didn't and couldn't. Yeah. And so it was just like they had the establishment all lined up. Oh, and then, ultimately what got me to, so I think a lot of people read that New York Times editorial that tipped it for him. I just wrote my column this week about like how in a case like this, Cuomo might have won. He would have done better. No James Clyburn endorsement, no Bill Clinton endorsement, no corrupt union endorsements, no New York Times. It's just be a solo. Probably would have done better. There was a lot of hate voting.
He was defined by who supported him. Mm-hmm. That is amazing. And the fact that the establishment didn't want him or was terrified of him, it's like, that's my guy. Meaning the regular.
We hate them. Like,
but see, that's
the
wild part, right?
Guillotine in Times Square right now, it would. We're going to put like people like Michael Bloomberg in there. I mean, that's how it is now.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That is supposed to be the point of government. Like, meaning, I know that the government that we have today is corrupt, is full of people who are billionaires, millionaires, who work with these people against the interests of the population, who is getting this kind of high-tech totalitarianism against the population. But the entire point of government was to be the fist against that stuff. It was supposed to be the public's device, edifice, to push back against these larger forces that are going to be in society in regards to private enterprise, companies, businesses, and ensuring that public interest and public will succeeds. And that is not the way it's operating. And so when you get somebody like Mandani, and the public is like, hey, the establishment hates this guy, I would imagine the public says, that's our guy. And he scares the shit out of establishment. Now the catch becomes, can he do what he says he wants to do? I mean, he's just the mayor.
He can do a lot of what he wants to do. So I do want to answer that. And I want to say also, but I want to say, maybe want to talk about the establishment. The empire is about to strike back. I mean, they're conniving, they're meeting, they're scared. They're doing exactly what they did to Bernie in 2020 and 2016. They're going after him. The Democratic establishment is not endorsing him. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer from New York has not endorsed the Democratic nominee for mayor. Let that lie for a little bit. They're literally trying to rally behind Eric Adams, whose current approval rating is 18%, which is, by the way, for the record here, lower than the Trial Lawyers Association, lower than an insurance industry. Okay. I mean, literally, he's like more, there are many STIs that are more popular than Eric.
Right.
And so, they're trying to get him. He couldn't run in the primary because he was going to be destroyed. So he's running as an independent. They're trying to get Cuomo to not run in the fall, endorse Adams. They're trying to get Curtis Sliwa to give up the Republican nomination and let Adams run as a Republican. So with an anti-Mamdani, pro-Zionist vote. So it's disgusting. Can Mamdani govern? Yes, he can govern. His principal promises are city-run, nonprofit grocery stores. He can snap his finger, make that happen. There's been a couple of grocery store chain barons who threatened to leave. Everyone's like, go, don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out of town. Bye, no one needs you. See ya. You've always been a pig. And then there's the guy who owns Gristedes, that chain. He's the worst. And then he's going to be coming in to work. Here's the part that's very interesting. And the New York Times will never tell you this. City council is far to the left of every mayor we've ever had. City council is very left-wing in New York City. And in fact, Democratic socialists won a lot of the city council seats that were up for re-election in the current cycle. And I don't know where there you are, Jamal. So anyway,
I'm still here. I was giving you the.
Okay, all right.
I was giving you the thing. I'm still here. I was giving you the.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Anyway, so the point is that there's a lot of Democratic socialists now in city council. It's a big city council. There's like 60 or so members. Anyway, now they're going to have a mayor who aligns with them ideologically. They're going to be able to get a lot done together. They're going to be able to get more done than an Eric Adams or a Bill de Blasio or someone like that was able to, or Mike Bloomberg was able to do. Mike Bloomberg, I don't want to take anything away from him. He was a great master administrator and organizer of the city. He was certainly corrupt with the real estate interests, but you can't be surprised by that, given who he is. But but in terms of ideologically, he can govern. He also can freeze the rent. He can snap his fingers. He controls the rent control. He appoints the members of the rent control board. So if he wants to freeze the rents, he can. That'll be happen on day 2. So he can, and freezing the rent's no big deal. They should cut it. They should slash and burn it by at least 25%.
Now, can they do that? I mean, because
the landlords will go crazy. But
that's what I was going to say. And don't the landlords also have to pay higher rents? Because my rent in DC was $1,900, and I can tell you that was in a rough neighborhood. And if you were like in DC proper, oh man, you're talking about a studio for maybe $3,000 if you're just looking for just a basic decent place. $5,000, Ted? Does the amount
I
that New
looked it
York
up. The median price of a 1-bedroom apartment in all 5 boroughs of New York City. So that includes very inexpensive relatively rough neighborhoods, like you said, like in outer Queens, outer Brooklyn, northern Bronx, out in the reaches of Staten Island that you can only get to by boat.
Yeah.
That includes all that. It's $4,100 a month for a 1-bedroom.
How can anybody afford that?
Well, they can't, and it's a joke. I mean, under the rules that most landlords have, you have to make 40 times. You have to make 40 times the rent. So if your rent is, say, $4,000 a month, you have to have a salary of $160,000 a year to qualify. Now, okay, so how many New Yorkers have an income of over $160,000 a year? By the way, as an individual, not many at all. There's still, most people here are still working class and poor. Yep, there's a middle class shrinking away. So it's a joke. And, and so that's why it's completely unsustainable, and it's no longer sustained. So Mamdani, if he brings in like some experienced allies like Brad Lander, if I were him, I would reach out to Cuomo. I would offer Cuomo the school's chancellorship. That is a prestigious assignment. You control the second largest school system in the United States with over 1 million students. You're shaping the future, literally, and you can leave you can make a real mark on an entire generation of kids who are going to grow up and remember you fondly. You really can do some good work there. It's people appreciate, New Yorkers appreciate their school chancellors when they do a good job.
Would Cuomo lower himself? And I'm saying lower himself because in Cuomo's mind, as you pointed out, Cuomo didn't get into this race to, campaign. He got into this race to be almost like coordination.
Well,
would he even accept that?
Well, here's the thing, right? So there's two ways to look at it. So, I mean, granted, Jerry Brown was in a very different situation as former governor of California in that he didn't grab ladies' asses and then have to resign over it. So he was, he was a well-respected governor. That's different. But still, look at the difference in mentality. Andrew Cuomo went to run for mayor of Oakland, not San Francisco, not a sexy city like LA. He went to Oakland, which is a city with a lot of structural economic problems because it was a big port city and the port closed, right? But he was like, I'm giving back. I'm bringing all my political experience from my political dynasty, and in the later years of my life, and this is what it's going to say when they write his obituary. They're going to say he decided to give back to the community, humble himself, listen to community leaders, and roll up his sleeves and do the hard work that was beneath him, whatever. And you know what? He's beloved, and he's going to die. He's redeemed to the extent that he ever needed to be redeemed. Yeah, that's the path that Andrew Cuomo, Catholic, he should seek the redemption. He needs to do penance for the grannies that he killed during COVID. He needs to do penance for the butts that he grabbed on the stairwell at the State House. He needs to, and the way he could do that is give back and do something that everyone would be like, you know what, that is hard work. Running a school district with 1 million kids, many of whom are poor, that's a hard job. And I would be the first to say, good on you. Good on you, former governor.
Interesting.
I don't know if he would take it. Yeah, but he should for his own reputation. His redemption. You're 67 years old. You've got to be thinking about legacy.
Yeah, I guess you're. It depends on what's in his mind, right? How does he see himself in this context? Does he even think he needs redemption?
We saw a soulful side of him during those COVID, news conferences where
he thinks where he lied about the numbers.
Well, he did lie about the numbers and all that, but you know what I mean? Like when he was ruminating about, philosophy and philosophizing and sort of trying to be like the sort of like a national leader at a time when leadership was in short supply. Obviously he screwed up in many ways during COVID, but people really loved those news conferences. that side of him, he could tap it. He has it. I mean, I don't know if it's just deep down he's just rotten to the core. Now, I'll tell you Mamdani's big problem, and this would be like to the point of the New York Times. The governor. So in New York City, most of the money comes from Albany, from the governor's mansion.
Kathy Hochul.
Kathy Hochul controls the purse strings.
Okay.
Now politically, what you got to remember is she was originally the lieutenant governor. She ascended because Cuomo resigned.
Right.
Cuomo appointed her to balance the ticket. He chose someone to his right. Okay. Cuomo is a center leftist or a centrist. He chose a conservative from upstate New York. New York state politics are all about liberal blue New York City, upstate Trumpy, upstate.
Like Albany,
Schenectady,
Dixie.
Rochester, north of that, Buffalo. She's from Buffalo. So, all the way up by Niagara Falls on the Canadian border. So she's a conservative. Objectively, she could be a Republican just as easily. So if I were Mamdani, I would pursue a warm relationship with her, try to make some kind of personal connection, ask her for some guidance, ask her, because he needs that money. He's going to need it. He's not going to be able to, you can't run the city without it. And the city's broke. It's the tax base is vanished post COVID. So many industries are closed. So many stores are closed. 700,000 New Yorkers have left. It is a bit of a ghost town. You can get a seat during rush hour on the subway because there is no rush hour on the subway.
Last question on the financial thing is, what about the New York Stock Exchange? I remember Sanders was saying a tax on.
That's my idea that I've been pushing literally my entire career. Yes, if you tax so the masters of the universe used to put the kibosh on any idea of taxing stock transactions by saying we'll take the exchange out to New Jersey and we'll do it there. We'll put it in Newark or whatever. It's first of all, lie. These people aren't going to go from Westchester County where they live now in north of New York City all the way out to Newark. But also, there's a way around that too. New York could make an alliance with New Jersey and Connecticut and say, listen, we're going to tax the stock exchange. We're going to give you a cut if you agree to not let them in.
Does he have the power to do that as mayor and the city council?
Yes, absolutely. He could impose. Literally overnight, all of the city's problems would be over.
He has to raise money. He has to.
We could have an extra airport just because.
just for shits and giggles, right?
Why not? Yeah, for sure. We could. I don't know. We'll have an amusement park in Central Park just for fun.
High-speed rail.
Yeah, high-speed rail.
He should go big. Go big, go home. Especially if he goes big and he's a success. Success is, it. He can become a legend in this, and it could be positive for people who are on the left going forward as a model.
Well, we really need a win on the left and I hope he doesn't turn out to be another sellout. Obviously, the pressure is enormous, but don't as Molly Ivins said, dance with them that brung you. It's leftists who brought Mamdani, and it's a really interesting coalition. I love this part. 25%. So normally the number of new voters in each election in New York City is about 3%. This time, 25% of the voters had never voted before.
Are you serious?
In any election. Now, check this out. Of those 25%, half are under 30. Okay, well, that's not surprising. But
that's a
the other half are over 65.
Oh, so he got both. He was able to get the young vote and the old vote.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. It's a new old vote, right? So these are elderly people who literally were completely alienated from the political system, never voted, And they're
He got
like,
involved.
I'm going to go register and vote for this guy.
Wow, that is
So
fantastic.
now that's who else did so, who else pulled a trick like that?
Sanders.
Donald J. Trump too, and Sanders.
Oh, good point.
And so so that's the thing. This is literally like the hostile takeover of the New York City Democratic Party.
Ted Rall, but that is fantastic. I hope he lives up to it. He is
Me too.
Mandani's wife's husband. Mandani's wife's husband.
He's not a bad-looking guy either. And
well, that's what it's funny. That's what Fox News was saying.
Trump said he was ugly and had a terrible voice. I'm like,
no. Fox News was saying the opposite. Fox News was like, all of these white women love him. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's the guy that like if your girlfriend cheats on you with him, you're like, okay, I'm mad, but I get it.
But I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
His wife is gorgeous. The Lord knows that woman is gorgeous. Ted Rall, political cartoonist, syndicated columnist, host of TMI with the great and only Manila Chan, and also Inside Deprogrammed with John Kiriakou. And you guys are going on today at 12:30. And you're going to have Jake effing Tapper.
Jake fucking Tapper is coming on. We're talking to him for 45 minutes. We're taking questions from people in the Rumble chat and in the YouTube chat for Jake. To Jake's credit, he did not ask for or suggest any ground rules or any no-go zones. However, I like to keep things respectful, and so stupid trolling questions will not be tolerated. But
that's good, Ted. Good job, man.
It'll be good.
Good job.
A good get,
you
right?
have a good one.
Thanks.
You be safe. Have a good one. Have a damn good interview.
Thank you.
Have a good one.